Clashes on the streets of Ecuador as supporters of the right-wing presidential candidate claim fraud in Sunday's ballot. Former banker Guillermo Lasso is set to face narrow defeat, but has already announced he disputes the result, calling for a recount. There was confusion among supporters of Lasso. He started to celebrate after exit polls showed he would be the likely winner. But as more results came in, the balance tipped. The victor in these elections will replace President Rafael Correa, who's been in office for 3 terms. The leftist government candidate Lenin Moreno, who was supported by the outgoing president, has claimed victory. A Lasso defeat would be a relief for the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, whom Lasso had promised to remove from the Ecuadorian embassy in London.
In this investigation into the governmental and political structures of Ecuador and how they compare to that of the United States, I've seen some interesting things. Now, my family has been tied to Ecuadorian politics for quite some time. My uncle ran Sedatos, which is like the Gallup poll company of Ecuador. And that company actually inaccurately predicted the presidential election in 2017, which actually created some unrest in Ecuador. And it caused my uncle to be charged with treason and conspiracy to rig an election. And he was thrown into the unjust judicial system of Ecuador, where he faced charges of treason, which was punishable by death or life in prison. Luckily, someone stepped in, dismissed those charges, and he was able to come to America where he could be free and safe from political turmoil, or so he thought. He looks different. than Americans. I guess you could call the traditional white American. He talks different. He speaks a different language. And would he dare speak his language in public, he would be persecuted. That's what I learned from this. I learned a lot about the Ecuadorian government and how it's structured and how it's run and how it's different than the United States. But what I learned the most was the struggles of coming to America for immigrants. The struggles that they face when they come here. I first off learned why they come here. They come here to flee their unjust government. They come here searching for a better life. And that's something that America used to be able to provide them. When America was founded, it was found on those basic principles of open arms and as a refuge for those seeking a better life, as a refuge for those fleeing an unjust government. But what my uncle experienced when he got here was racism, bigotry, and xenophobia. Xenophobia being the fear of anything foreign or foreign people from foreign nations. A rhetoric handed down by the highest office in the land, labeled by a mantra of "Make America Great Again." And what I learned was that the true meaning of this mantra does not lie in the bigotry, racism, and xenophobia that it conveys, but it lies in the true meaning of what America was. I agree that we need to reverse our track and make America what it used to be. A place where people could feel free to come and escape their unjust and oppressive governments. I agree that we need to revert ourselves a little bit, but we cannot go back and change the past. We must move forward to the future. We must move forward to a future that lets us breathe, that lets us live, that lets anyone who wants to come to this nation live in peace, free from racism and bigotry. Now, I know this is a novel idea, but it's something that I came up with in my research. Something that I realized is actually happening in this world. I didn't have to do this research to learn that racism was a thing, but in doing this research, I learned that it hit home for me. Now, I could sit here and complain about racism and propose ways to fix it. But I'd like to turn your attention to the young people standing up, using their voices. The immigrants who felt like they couldn't do anything suddenly start raising their voices in opposition of this racist and horrific rhetoric. They're raising their voices against white supremacy, telling them that they do belong here. So as I said, I learned a lot about the Ecuadorian government, learned a lot about how it compares to that of the United States, but I learned about the transition from Ecuador to the United States, and I learned how hard of a transition that is. I never knew that. I was born here and I was raised in America. But I've had family that have come here and experienced that firsthand, that have come to the United States and searching for that better life, and were met with bigotry and racism. I learned about that transition. Learned about how hard it is. But as I said, I am hopeful that the youth of this nation will rise and say, you know what, enough is enough. Let's welcome everyone with open arms to show people that life is more important than a strong border or a wall. Walls divide us, but love and compassion and tolerance. That's what's unite us. And that's the simplicity of this project. Learning about the struggles and the oppressive nature of another government, the corruption that might lie within it. You can learn a lot about a certain type of people that will come to the United States searching for that better life. But in searching for that life, they are met with certain obstacles. Searching for life, they want to overcome those obstacles and show who they truly are. That's my family. Those are my people. And I'm proud to call myself an Ecuadorian because we do not give up. We do not shy away in the face of obstacles. We move towards them head on. And myself, my family, and my fellow young people in this country are ready to show the world that we will not tolerate this intolerance. Thank you.